Hi, it's Isabel, and I'm back here talking to you about working while worn out, how you can still have a powerful, purposeful, rich, joyful, growing business, even if your energy and your capacity is limited. Whether that limit is temporary, in the wake of illness or grieving or healing, or whether it's a chronic condition and a new part of your life now. So I want to talk about nourishing business activities. In a previous video, I talked about this idea of creating smaller containers for your work, and I gave this example that right now I'm experimenting with working between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, and that's my sort of official work schedule. And when I say that's my official work schedule, what that means is that that is the time I focus on what I consider the essential activities of my business. And the essential activities of my business are, number one, showing up for my clients, showing up for my private clients, showing up for my groups when I have committed to do so. And that includes, by the way, I mentioned before, I do a lot of email coaching. I have regular times, Monday and Friday mornings, that I receive and read and respond to client emails. Number two is preparing for any of my client engagements. So any prep I need to do um, uh, is an essential business activity, right? I always think the number one essential business activity is to keep your commitments, to keep your agreements to the people who are paying you money, right? And showing up for them the way you promised. The other really, what I consider a mandatory activity, we could lump into all of the sales and marketing, right? It's all of the activities that help me bring in new business. And that's everything from creating content like this that I share. As I mentioned, I'm hoping to be doing some free Facebook group challenges in the coming months where we can actually work on a specific activity together. A couple months ago, I did free truing calls, that kind of a thing, right? Um, it's any, and again, I talked previously about creative energy. It's uh, yeah, it's just using my creative energy to do things that will help me connect more deeply with my audience, provide value, be of service to them, as well as to create opportunities to discuss working together. So that's kind of what I think of in my brain as my essential business activities. So my goal right now is to do those activities at the level that I need to, um, in that work schedule I've created for myself. But I kind of have another category of activities that I'm going to call nourishing business activities. Um, and nourishing business activities to me are not that essential work of the business that absolutely has to happen, but it's everything that deepens and enriches and expands who I am and what I do in my business. And what I have sometimes found is even if my official work hours are that 10 to 1, between say 1 and 5 for me, um, if I'm really tired, then that's when I'll rest, right? That's when I will, I mean, of course, I eat lunch every day. I'll eat my lunch. I'll watch a TV show. I'll go sit outside. I'll take a nap. I'll put my feet up the wall, right? So if I'm really tired, then I use the afternoon for resting. I also use it for personal things that need to get done, right? Any errands or I'm going to the chiropractor, that kind of a thing. But some days when my energy is good, um, I actually want to be engaged with my business. And that's when I try to go to some of these, what I would call nourishing activities. So to me, nourishing activities are going to be things that are fun, that are playful, that are inspiring, things that are a little bit more focused on my business than just resting and relaxing, but that I'm not holding as a heavy should. For me, that can include brainstorming and visioning. Um, One of the principles I work with a lot is desire. You know, how connected are we to our desires? Are we telling the truth about our desires? So for me, just sometimes grabbing a journal and writing about what I long for, what I yearn for. And that could be business specific, and just really trying to tap into where the yearning and desire is in my business. Or I might write about my life, because again, we can never fully separate those two things. Um, I've recently become a fan of non-gaslighty thought work, so ways to work with our thoughts and stories and beliefs that isn't about gaslighting ourselves and pretending we don't feel how we feel or trying to tell ourselves we should think and feel differently. And so sometimes I create what I call a belief map, and that's where I just write down what I want my brain to believe. I just yesterday grabbed a sheet of paper, and some of you know I'm a big fan of Post-its, even though I don't have my Post-its behind me anymore. Marking pens, I took different colored pens, and I wrote down what I would love to believe about my business, right? So I'm just looking here. I easily turn my creative ideas and insight into ample income, right? So I just, again, from that place of juiciness and richness, just write down what I would love to believe, right? I'm in high demand as a coach. Um, I have an endless supply of creative insights, right, that are highly valuable to my people. So belief work to me kind of fits into that nourishing activity. It can be participating in Facebook groups or doing trainings. Um, that could be, if it really feels nourishing. That's where you want to be careful that you aren't going into a group and going to a training, like a training that makes you feel like you're doing it wrong or you need to be doing way more than you're currently doing. To me, would not fit into the nourishing activity category. Um, I just joined a group that's for people, neurodivergent people, to kind of create the lives they want. And so far, I'm finding that nourishing, because it's not, go out and do all this stuff. It's like different ways of looking at and thinking about things. Um, again, same kind of with reading books. That could be really nourishing, or if it makes you feel anxious and like you're doing enough, not nourishing. But that's the other strategy that I found really helpful is I kind of have in my mind my essential business activities and I have my nourishing business activities. And on days where I have sort of completed what I think is enough, whole nother conversation, but where I've completed what I think is enough for my essential business activities for the day, and I still kind of have a little energy, but not a lot of energy, that's when I like to go to my nourishing, creative, fun, playful things. Other things I would include in here is, like I said, sort of visioning, or if you do any kind of um, divination around your work, if you play with tarot cards or oracle cards or a pendulum, that to me can very much go into the nourishing business activity. Um, yeah. So, and I think it's really good to to know that we are planning for and making time and making space. All right. So instead of that kind of hard, grim, like, and again, I'm not saying don't do your bookkeeping. In fact, that's what I've been doing yesterday and more today. But instead of that kind of grindy, I have to grind through these business tasks. If you have some energy but not a ton, consider tapping into some of those nourishing business activities.